Here. All right. Let's start this over. Got some new music. Welcome to an episode of The Quality Tea. I am Joshua Prophet. In the middle is Miss Kenya Mack. All the way to the end is Miss Miracle Monique. And make sure that because we're on Mission Express Practical Religion, we're going to get into some great stuff. We got Katt Williams, who has set the internet ablaze. We're going to talk about a traditional wedding that Kenya and I attended. We got some new Jeffrey Epstein information and some conspiracy theories. So you're going to want to watch this full video until the end. So, before we get into that, though, how are you ladies doing?
Doing well. Good.
Awesome. Let's acknowledge some of the good quality people in the chat. Luxurious Element says, let's get it. Don't stop. Get it. I love it. Got Mr. Alan J in the house as well saying, I love the intro. I love that you love the intro. Thank you. It was a lot of hard work, so I appreciate it. Got let's just say Miss Mac. She took the T Mac off. She's Miss Mac, oh snap. Look at all these blessed, beautiful people. Thank you. That's some quality stuff. We got Miss Shirley Redmond in the house. I love her name because her name is the same as my grandmother's name. So yeah, we got family names crossing through friendships and stuff. This is exciting. This is exciting. All right, now and Jay is saying, I'm excited. Wish I could have. All right, shout out to Alan
Maybe he meant I'm.
That's what it means. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks a little funny, Alan. I'm not going to lie. All right. Thank you for tuning in. You said y'all ladies been doing good. It's a new year. This is our first episode of the Quality Tea of the year.
2024.
Man, it happened so fast.
Yeah. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I'm going.
Excited for what this year will bring.
Yes.
Let's go around the table. What are we looking forward to in 2024?
Just focusing in more on everything I want to have more discipline with. So, the workouts and the podcast and a lot of other details that I'm just trying to emphasize in my life more.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I got it. What about you, Miss Kenya Mack?
I guess for me, of course, like becoming a wife, becoming your wife, so that'd be exciting.
Oh, yeah, not just a wife. Yeah, 'cause that could be anybody.
Yeah.
You'd be a wife to the streets.
Yeah, we don't want that. No. But that, and then also the same like consistency with like content and kind of like just building a community more, like just focusing on that. So
I like that. Yeah, mine is just really just hammering down, refining the systems that are already in place, because I feel like this year is going to be less of trial and error and making sure everything works and whatnot, and more of just the process is down. Yep. Now, how can we be most effective, most efficient, and get the message out that we want to deliver to the people? So that is what I'm looking forward to most. And I'll get to travel some more this year, too. Going to Texas in a couple weeks, and then going on a little, tour of the Northeast, going to Delaware, Buffalo, New York, I think Connecticut and Pennsylvania, something like that. We're gonna be interviewing 11 people for TJ3 history, or 11 vets from World War II in the next about a month and a half. So it's some exciting stuff going on here. Now,
wait, anything else you're looking forward to?
Yeah, anything else?
I'm looking forward to getting married. That's what you wanted to hear.
There we go.
Because you would have pulled
we
it up.
all wanted to hear that.
That you wanted to get married. It's that's just implied.
It's not. You have to say it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Women
Miracle.
are insane. It's like I went through this effort to buy the ring. I got down on the knee, made a big show out of it. I made a video.
You still got to prove
and
it.
I still got to say it. Man,
Words matter.
They do.
This is craziness. No, I'm super excited for what that all entails and moving in, and we're already trying to get the cats accustomed to each other.
Yeah, that's why Sonic's not here, because she's
Oh yeah, that's why
at my
Sonic isn't here. She's at
we're trying to acclimate them together.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cute.
They keep hissing at each other though. So
Yeah.
So it's going well.
no. Well, it takes a while for cats to get used to each other because they're
That's
so
what it sounds like.
territorial.
Yeah. The
So-
first day, like they were not having it. at
Oh
all.
yeah, they
Really?
Yeah, if they were like together, they would have fought.
Oh my
like
God.
The cat fight, like the definition of
That is
cat fight would
hilarious.
have been displayed in real life.
Yeah. But they're getting better. They're getting better.
Yeah, Panos seems to be like, oh,
Panos
who are
is like,
you?
I'm ready to
and
meet
Sonic
you.
is still kind of like, no.
Yeah.
But I think it might be more because Sonic's out of her
Yeah.
element.
I can
know?
see that.
Yeah, she's still getting used to a new place, and Panos is like, oh no, this is my home.
Okay.
I've been here for a while.
Right. Like, who
So,
are you?
Yeah.
Like, you,
So.
you don't live here?
Right.
Yeah. Yep. You got a good 9 months to get it acclimated.
Oh yeah, that's
Like-
why like when I go on trips, I'm gonna drop Sonic off there because it's better for a cat to not just be completely by themselves. So yeah, can't believe it's turned into a little.
I'm going to get a cat one day.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, I am.
All our friends are
already
getting
told
cats.
Alan.
Much better than dogs, in my opinion.
I can't agree to that yet
You have
because I
a
haven't had
dog,
a cat.
but you have a dog that's like a cat.
Yes.
You have a dog.
I've had 2 dogs that acted like cats. So yeah. Maybe I've had a cat before then.
All right, so Cat Williams exposes the secrets
Speaking of cats.
of the universe. Yeah, so this was a cat segue.
That was good.
He exposes the secrets of the universe. So we're living in an age that is just ultra divisive, and there just seems to be no unity. So Cat Williams talks about politics, and we're going to get into our first sip right after we take a look at this clip.
Division divides. There's no way around it.
How do we get here?
All division divides. There's no way around that. All division divides. Politics, even in the beginning when our Constitution was drawn up, the 2 parties was not what they had in mind.
No.
They always thought that it would be 2 main and another independent party. They always assumed the independent party would be just as strong as the others. A lot of that just didn't happen. And that's what I've learned more from comedy is that Republicans laugh at the exact same thing that Democrats laugh at. As long as I'm talking to Democrats, I can make them laugh for 1 hour straight about what Republicans do. By the same token, I can go talk to Republicans for 1 whole hour and have them dying about the stuff that Democrats do. But at the end of the day, who does that? Yeah, your team got an offense and a defense. They're not supposed to be enemies. The enemy is the other side. Well, you can't do politics like that.
And so I think this is a good metaphor for what's going on, especially in our American society, where everybody is just so divided and everything's so divisive. And you can't have any unity if there's so much, if there's not one vision
Yeah.
or a singular vision that people are striving for, then there's inherently going to be division. And he talks about how the Democrats and the Republicans, they see each other as, 2 different teams, but really they're playing on the same team, but maybe they have 2 different, they're not playing on the same side of the ball, essentially. To use a football analogy, you have a defense and you have an offense. So the defensive players don't play on offense, but they're all on the same team trying to accomplish the same goal of winning and accomplishing that team's mission. And because we don't see life like that, and we see life as this side and that side, then that's why we are in this predicament where everything is so divisive, and we're not seeing people as, human beings. We're seeing people as, they're
Chess pieces.
yeah, they're other than what I am. They're not a part of my group. Now, I do think that you need to establish lines and establish groups and stand for something, right? But you should always be working to encourage people to see your perspective as well as gaining their perspective as well, so that you can further sharpen yours.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the church is supposed to be. Essentially, people from all walks of life, all lines of thought coming together in one singular place to do what we're called to do, which is to give Christ the glory. And so it's like when we start demonizing other groups of people or other ways of thinking, it's kind of like it defeats the purpose of what we're here to do in the first place, which we have the same goal, but we may have a different way of getting there.
Right.
And that's not a problem as long as we have the space to come together and discuss it.
I mean, that also makes me think of just how denominations have formed as well, whereas we're all at least claiming that we're serving Christ and that we're Christian in our foundation, but we do have different ways of looking at, different things, which is certainly fine as long as the main focal point is aimed at becoming more of the nature of Christ, which I think most denominations at least have that as their focal point. Now, I would say some of them don't, and then you kind of put them like, oh, okay, maybe y'all are a little too extreme. But as long as that is the focus, and as long as you're encouraging people to become more of the nature of Christ, I don't think your traditional rituals necessarily matter, right? As long as it's getting you to focus more on Christ, right? Because you can have a super traditional way of doing things, trying to be true to how other societies have done things, or you can do things more modern. But as long as the focus is on, okay, like how do we glorify Christ for who he is and what he's done in my life and for what I am trying and striving to become in my life, then I think that is the ultimate purpose of, being a Christian. And then that should bleed over to every part of our life. But that's how we persuade people. It's not by force of saying my idea is better than yours and condemning people, but it's by showing them your character and being a light in the world that people see the light and they're like, wow, yeah, maybe I wasn't rocking with him, or maybe I was even rude to that person on my encounter, but there's something about them that makes me want to become more like them when they are, just kind of thinking by themselves. So.
Yeah, I think this is a good topic, especially for this year because it's an election year.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So it'll be interesting to see how that will all play out political wise. But yeah, I definitely agree that we should definitely be looking at the different parties as a team rather than like, oh, I'm totally against what they're saying. Rather, we should probably be like, hey, like this side has a good idea, but they could tweak it this way so we could accomplish this bigger goal, which is like the enemy from another country or whatever the case is. So I feel like that definitely needs to change. Will it change? Probably not. Definitely not, especially with different motives, different agendas going on individually within the political parties. But I like the idea. I like the sentiment.
Oh, the idea is fun.
Yes. So let's go ahead and get into our first topic. It is the truth is the light. So
I got a question.
Are we in the age of truth where everything is just being exposed?
Seems like it.
I do think that.
Seems like
Certainly
I do.
think so. Yeah, I think so too.
I think,
with the internet, and now we are in the truth of lies being pumped out at an astronomical rate. But we are also in an age where, like, if things are like everything is going to be put out there, everybody's business. You see all these celebrities; they can't hide behind things that would have otherwise never have been known until maybe after they passed away, so I think it's a good thing. Katt Williams certainly thinks so. So let's take a look at this video.
I came in this business saying I was going to expose. When I talked about Michael Jackson, when I talked about R. Kelly, they canceled me for these things because why would you talk about another black dude? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side.
Hold up.
Amen.
Let's talk about that. So a lot of people will say, hey, y'all shouldn't talk down on black, people, or especially, black women will say, black men, stop talking down on black women and vice versa. And it's like, no, like we need to hold each other accountable and we need to push each other to be great.
Establish some boundaries.
There is a line where you're just kind of talking nonsense just to be talking and
Of
really
course.
just putting them down unnecessarily. But if there is a corrective measure that needs to be had, then absolutely let your voice be heard, because we all need to strive to become better. Like once we think we have made it, once we think we're of this godlike stature, then that's when we will actually start to degenerate, which is actually our first sip, which I forgot to put in our last segment. But it's not enough to stand for truth. You must strive to become it, or you're just as double-minded as the ones you oppose.
Ooh.
So essentially, if you say that you stand for truth, but you aren't actively striving and becoming it, but you're like, hey, I stand for truth, and all those other people don't, you're actually just as double-minded as the people you were talking about. And so we must not be, partial, as James says in his little letter that he wrote in the New Testament. We don't want to show partiality. We want to be above board. And yes, we're all going to be hypocritical in our nature in some way, but as long as we continually strive, continually repent for the sins of our past to become better, then we are on the right path. And so what do y'all think about what Katt said, that, hey, race is not where the line is drawn? These different characteristics that we often divide ourselves by, that's not where the line is drawn. It's actually just, hey, God's side, which is, the light, righteousness, and there's everything else.
No, 100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree, because I feel like a lot of times people will be so stuck in whatever they identify as, like being black or whatever the case is, and they don't want to see like the character flaw that is attached to what they're doing or how they're doing things. So I definitely think, and even that's like a biblical thing. It's like, the principalities verse, like it's not against flesh and blood, it's against principalities and things like that. So it's like, it's always going to be God versus the world, or God versus Satan, or God versus ourselves. So it's like, yeah, 100% agree.
I love it. I mean, I love that he said it. I was pleasantly surprised, because usually you don't see like top black men and women in their industry saying things like this, because, the identifier is always black first, not my beliefs, not the truth first. And so I was very pleasantly surprised that he said it like out in just like that, like, hey, I don't care what any of you think of this, but this is the truth right here, that the race doesn't matter. This is not about race. This is about what's right and wrong. This is about truth and lies, the lies that you've been told your whole life, the lies that are keeping this community down, and you refusing to accept it. And so I love it. This is what we need to be seeing more. But it can be scary, because people be peopling, and so it's definitely a challenge. But I think just to continue to move forward in that, as long as your focus is there to continue to move forward in that, I think it just becomes a habit after a while, and you can continue to do it.
Yeah, and just how he just spit it out like that. Yeah. That's how you know, like, he really believes that.
It's from his heart.
Yeah.
It's not something that is rehearsed. It's something that he's thought about, that he is really, that's something that's really ingrained in him, that he really believes, and that it's just bleeding out in natural conversation. It's not something that he came on with an agenda to say, oh, no, I'm going to come expose these people.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just talking out his butt. This is like, no, this is my life. This is my perspective on things. This is how I really feel, right? Regardless of if he's wrong or not, at least he's standing on, his principle rather than trying to appease a certain audience. He's actually putting himself at more risk of, financial gain.
Yeah.
Just to set the record straight, essentially, so that the light can be shown on these different issues that he talked about with Mr. Shannon Sharp. Now, before we get into some more of this clip, shout out to Kenya's dad.
Hey,
welcome to the show. Shout out to all the quality people.
And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
The truth is the light.
I need to have that on one of these.
Amen. Amen.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and drink, Shannon.
Yep.
Yeah, the truth is the light though. It's not, I don't know, my camera's freaking out. But the truth is the light. It's not all of these things that we, uphold where, hustle and get all this money and do whatever it takes to do to achieve that goal. It's like, no, like live righteously, strive after your goals wholeheartedly, but, always focus on what's holy and what's pure and be of good integrity and good character, because that is what's being exposed out of these people. Not that they're successful or not that they are not talented, right? Because a lot of these people do have talent. Now, Katt Williams might beg to differ, but a lot of these people do have talent, but it's how they go about expressing that talent and how they went about conducting their business, especially behind the scenes, and then putting on this face in front of everybody as if they are, somebody to be, idolized. Mm-hmm. And now we're holding them in high regard in not an honest way because we don't have all the facts.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, no, yeah, I think that is a very interesting take by Katt Williams there. So let's answer this question again. Like, are we in the age of truth after going through that clip there?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, everything's coming to the light.
I want to see what more comes out.
I'm very interested.
I'm just nosy at this point. Like, what else is going to come out?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
But I feel like a lot of stuff that will come out, it'll be like surprising, but also not surprising. It'll be like, oh, wow, they really did that.
I agree with that. Like, because even a lot of the things that have recently come out, I'm kind of like, well, okay. Like,
it's like
I was surprised that it was exposed, but I wasn't surprised at the information, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even Mildred agrees. Shout out to Mildred. She says I'm late, but yes, because too many people been lying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you ain't never told a lie there. She says confirmed info. Yes. And I mean, that's, really at the heart of and the beauty of social media is that, a lot of different things get to be shed and put to light, though there is a lot of misinformation out there and a lot of information that can lead people in the wrong direction. But that is why it's important to be spiritually centered and have discernment and wisdom so that you can follow the trail of truth and always follow and chase after God. Because that is ultimately what is of utmost importance. Mr. Allen J says, we've been in the age of truth. It's just now the blinders is wide open. Yes. Yeah. So it's like, it's like the truth. We've been in the age of truth, but now like, everybody's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm looking out the window. I'm trying to see what's coming down the street.
When you like open the blinds up and you're like,
No, absolutely. So here's our last sip. The people we pedestalize should be the epitome of who we want to be. You should never have someone represent you that you would not emulate. Now, this is super important because a lot of times we'll prop people up and we will emulate them, like people, like these people that I'm about to show you. Oh. Sorry. Nope, that is not it. Hold on. Okay, whatever. Let me take that off.
And that's why they say
I came in this business saying I was going.
Yeah, okay. So, like Tyler Perry.
I wasn't expecting that.
You got scared, jump scare?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. You emulate people like Tyler Perry, who is like, oh, he's a great writer and he does this and he can play all these characters. But it's like, would you want your son dressing up as like a Medea figure and taking on the role of these very feminine traits while also trying to project and be a masculine man? Or are you saying that, oh no, you're just in touch with the world in a better way somehow by doing that?
Right.
When in reality, you could just like get a woman that looks like that to play that role and play it better because that's who she really is. But I guess then the argument is, well, is that really who people like Tyler Perry are when these guys get these roles, which is what Katt Williams was arguing in that segment. And that's what we'll talk about in our next segment. When we come back on the Quality Entertainment Network, don't touch that dial. Fight with algorithm.
What's happening?
Hello, Mrs. Kenya. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, we're good. I got a little song I'll sing for you.
All right.
All right.
This is something serious. Maybe I'm delirious, but I thank God for every single second that I spend with you. Cause this is something serious. Or maybe I'm delirious. This is something serious. Woman of my dreams. Someone better pinch me. This can't be reality. Cause this is something serious, 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 serious. Smile or frown, girl, I'm 10 toes down for you. I surround you, in love you'll drown, my boo. We wear crowns, got that royal attitude. You're my queen and we royal priests. Let's rule. Under God, we ride. Under God, till we die. Under God, we ride. Under God, till we die. Capiche, capuche, that stays between me and you. Inside jokes, only us know. Yo, I was thriving solo, but then I saw a light and out appeared from it an angel. You so sweet like them oranges, it's fitting you rock a halo. Whoa, if you ever get low, I'm there to lift your spirit. You were wonderfully made, your imperfections make you perfect. Don't ever forget it, we go deeper than the surface. Cause when we cuddle, you still hold me with good conversation. Wow! You make my heart smile. Won't you stay a while, like till we're saying vows? Why I want you walking down the aisle could list 1,000 reasons. You make me a better person.
Kenya,
Yes, babe.
you want to spend the rest of your life with me?
Heck freaking yeah.
Will you marry me?
Yes, babe.
You said yes.
I don't have a person quite good.
Welcome back to The Quality Life. It's me. I got two of my good friends. One is my fiance. Oh, don't look at me like that. Come on now. That's Kenya Mac. That's Miracle Meek. Make sure that because we got some great topics for you. Now, what we gonna get into now is Tyler and the Crossdressers. So yes, Tyler Perry, you might know as, Medea, but
I got a question.
and that question is, are black men being primed to cross-dress or, at least appear to be more feminine in nature? So you got all these guys that get different roles, and some of our favorite actors have, cross-dressed at some point and played not a feminine role, like literally a woman. And so you have Tyler Perry, of course, is the most famous of the bunch, but then you have people like, that was the Wayans brothers, right? Mm-hmm. Playing white chicks, which, come on. That was early 2000s, but that doesn't even look believable. And then this looks even less believable. Big Mama's House and Martin Lawrence. And then even And then even her.
And see what I did?
Yeah,
See?
can't even say the pronouns right. See, that's where it all started. Now,
Right.
Now, even people like Eddie Murphy, when he played the Nutty Professor, he did all the different roles, and you're like, oh, like that's cool, showing dynamic range and everything. But I think when it comes to crossing over to the other gender, you don't know what that person feels like. You can only pretend to be that, right? And so
It's a caricature.
it would just, yeah, it's a caricature. So it's like,
That's how you say it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it matters how you say it. I say different words differently. So, but it's just a simple fact that you should hire those out, and like Katt Williams says, the best people should play the best roles.
Yep.
And so, if you're playing, women, like, what does that say about you?
That is sad.
Yeah, or if that's what you're primarily known for.
Interesting.
And also, these aren't the values that we want to instill in our, I won't say like our community, Black community, because it's like whatever. At first, you need to hold down your internal community, your family, and your, immediate friends around you. And so what values do you want to espouse outside of them? And so that's why I'm saying, like, okay, yeah, I watched Tyler Perry when I grew up. I watched, all these different things that I just showed you. But are those the most helpful? And would I want to, push that on my son or daughter and get them thinking? Because that may be something that they struggle with. And then they watch these movies and they're like, oh, no, it's okay.
Or like, yeah, we have a daughter and she's like, well, I have a guy that I'm interested in, but he dresses up like a girl sometimes. Like,
That was an episode
okay?
of Grownish.
Was it?
Yes.
Huh.
That was an episode of Grownish. Chloe Bailey, one of the twins, she started dating a guy that dressed like a girl sometimes. Like, he would wear skirts sometimes. Like, he looked like a man. Like, he normally dressed like a man, but like he would occasionally wear skirts and stuff. And like the whole episode was her like trying to accept it.
Yeah.
Like, figure it out. Yeah. But ultimately she ended up like accepting it and, realizing her internalized whatever word.
Misogyny.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So
It's always just internalized. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Internalized racism.
I wish I could remember the word.
just
but,
like-
it's one of them buzzwords. So yeah, it's one of those.
Like, you can look at me and tell me what I'm internalizing.
Man, that's
That makes
narcissistic
no
right
sense.
there. How you gonna tell me?
Yeah, you can psychoanalyze me.
Right.
And you don't even have a degree.
At all.
It's like,
What?
I mean, if it was like a psychotherapist or somebody or a psychiatrist, I could understand to a degree. But then again, like, I haven't even opened my mouth. I haven't even talked to you.
Exactly.
You can just tell through my eyes.
Right.
Yep,
It's like-
he has that.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
no, just what you're saying is enough for me.
No, it is. It is.
Just your body language.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Mayday. We are live
Hello.
on the Quality Entertainment Network. Love to hear it. Now this pastor had some strong words to say about Tyler Perry, and I think this is just a beautiful clip and just broadens the discussion that we are already having. Take a look. That is not it. Dang, I guess I didn't put it in here.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what happens when you stay up till 5 in the morning.
I get it.
All right, whatever. All right, so essentially, this pastor was saying that, Tyler Perry has tricked the Black community into thinking that, it was okay to cross-dress. And then he goes around to churches and, he's seen as this guy who's upright with God, but yet he's doing these different and playing these different roles that aren't necessarily godly. So what do you guys think about, those two different things playing out?
I just thought about this, but has the character Medea ever been inside the church? Because, there's always the church scene in all his movies. Has Medea been inside the church?
I think Medea's been in there a few times.
Really?
But normally she's gone by the church.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember
there has
seeing
been
her
a couple
in it.
scenes where
Okay.
Medea
She's
been
has
in
been in the church. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, while y'all discussing that, I'm going to cue up this video.
I would say, I found it interesting because on the video, under the comment section, there are a lot of people saying, well, he meant well by like his acting and his storytelling.
Right.
And I do think he meant well, but I also agree with what the pastor was saying, which was why not just get someone to play the
Yeah.
role rather than dress up as a woman and do the role? So that's kind of like where my head is at. It's like, I think he meant well, but he didn't have to dress up as a woman.
Yeah, like I don't think he meant to do any intentional harm. I think he himself was dealing with things, and oftentimes art is your medium to kind of express those things in every way they come out. And so I think the Medea character kind of just came out in the middle of all the things that he was dealing with, because I think, if I remember correctly, he was like molested as a young boy, and there were like other things sexually that was going on with him, like as he was growing up. And so I think that kind of became manifested in the character Medea, and just sort of started playing out in those different movie roles and things like that. So again, I don't think he meant any intentional harm, but that's kind of what happens when you have sin that you're not dealing with and not acknowledging, and it's kind of like,
Oh, it almost bled out into just his writing.
Exactly.
So the writing became like the therapy.
Yep.
And maybe it wasn't acted out, no pun intended, in the best way. But that's often what you see, especially with people that get into or display behaviors of that nature. It's something from their childhood where they were taking advantage of, unfortunately, that is the root cause of that. Or, I mean, and not even necessarily physically or sexually, but it could have been just emotionally, or just by not having, they're just having absentee parents that didn't necessarily raise them properly, and they were just exposed to too much and didn't have the proper guidance so that they could gain that discernment of, hey, no, this is probably the more wise decision to take in, these, and throughout life in general. And so got the video.
Well, apparently, like, the whole story of, like, Medea is based on his aunt, who, like, saved him from, like, all the abusive stuff.
Oh, okay, got you. But then why not
Which is, like, a good story.
Why not just get a woman that's like his aunt to play it?
Yeah.
Because now I'm starting to think you want to emulate her.
Like, you love her, or you're attached to her.
Now it feels unhealthy.
Yeah, in such a way that you want to be her.
Yeah.
Which that is a weird little concept, because then he goes and plays, I guess, himself in a sense.
Yeah, he does.
Like
as
an
the other
alter ego
character.
kind of thing.
Yeah, and so he's playing all these different things, and it's like, do you know who you truly are? And that's kind of the folly of it, and the undercurrent that, especially kids or people, adolescents that are coming up watching it, that they will subconsciously kind of pick up. And then it's like, oh, no, I can be this and this and this. And it's like, no, you need to be who you truly are. Like, we can all be excellent, but we can only be excellent. I mean, just like an expert's excellent at one thing or one field. And you are going to be excellent at being you and nobody else. And so you need to maximize that. And so when you start, playing these different characters throughout your life that have completely different, not even personalities, just different walks of life, then that can be confusing in your own mind. Like, you are kind of confused in your own mind.
I hear it all the time from these actors. They're like, they always do these interviews where they're like, yeah, you have to, like, manifest those characters, or like call the spirit of those characters and things like that. And they talk about it all the time, how it, like, really messes with them in their minds and in their spirits. And I'm like, I can imagine.
It's kind of like, we were watching the Dave Chappelle episode.
Yeah.
And then
he
he
just
was
has a new
saying,
stand-up come out.
Yeah, he was saying.
Oh, yeah, Dreamer.
Yeah.
I just watched that.
Yeah, he was saying how he
went to go see Jim Carrey.
Yeah, his dream person to see was Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey was acting as somebody else.
And he was like, Jim, and they were like, no, don't call him Jim.
Yeah,
he's in character.
Don't do that.
He's like, we wrapped an hour ago. Oh no, he stays in character.
Yeah,
it's like,
like there's no way.
I'm so disappointed.
There's no way that's healthy.
I went to go meet Jim. And I got Andy.
Even
I'm sure it makes good content, but
it does. But like, at what risk? Because like, even the guy who played the Joker, what's his name? Gosh, the one that died.
Robin.
The one that died. Oh, what's his name?
Ledger.
Yes, Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Played the Joker.
Yes, even him, like, he was dealing with a lot of things in his mind right before he died, and so it's a real thing, and
Well,
so I
he
really
literally
worry about
had
it.
two, I guess, spirits, two ways of thinking in his mind because he was trying to be two different people at
Yeah.
once. It's almost like,
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, there's these different shows and concepts where, you know, when two bodies or two spirits can exist in the same body, and
They call that two-spirit now. But that's a different thing, I guess.
oh yeah, that is the actual
Yeah.
thing. Man, we're gonna have to.
I
Jesus
know,
Christ.
yeah.
Now that's another thing that we're not gonna get into. But like, there's a.
You can't
I
serve
forgot-
two masters. Doesn't make sense.
I
Yeah.
forgot what the show was, but essentially a spirit got into this person, and basically, if that spirit would have overtaken that person, then the actual person who initially inhibited the body would cease to
yeah,
exist.
that's like in
Ooh.
Spider-Man. That's in the
Oh
Spider-Man.
my God.
It's a
What,
concept.
like Venom or?
Yeah, Venom.
Okay.
I mean, Venom. Yeah, I mean, the theme exists in a lot of different
Yeah.
ways.
Yes.
but it speaks to a real truth that you can't essentially serve two masters. You can't have all these different ideologies and essentially spirits
Yes.
guiding you in these different directions because one's either going to take over the other.
Yes.
They can't coexist at the same time. And the one that takes over could be the death of you as a person. Because then
Yes.
all you are exhibiting is that spirit. It's the same thing with alcoholics. It's like the spirit of alcohol takes over you to where you cease to exist until you get some help and you recover, right? And you go through that process. But when you are in that state, then it's just it's literally, they call it the alcohol talking. It must be the drinks talking, and
Yeah.
that's not necessarily said by accident.
Yeah.
because it's not you, So, but yeah, let's take a look at what this pastor said about Tyler Perry.
Whole black community. He got us to do what RuPaul couldn't get us to do. He got us to do what no one else, and he came up with an ingenious way to do it. He and he alone got black folk to accept drag. And you know how he did it? He did it through laughter, through humor. He got us to accept drag queens. That's all Medea is a drag queen. So, and you know what he did? He went to churches. He went to churches, went to a place where he could go where you could almost guarantee folk ain't gonna be thinking. There won't reason. There won't nobody say, wait a minute. This man can't find an overweight black woman? You can't find a fat sister in the black
You have to
church?
say that.
She in the kitchen.
You got to pretend to be her?
She's salting the
You can look at
greens.
you can blindfold yourself and look in any direction and find a Medea. But
Yeah.
through laughter, we let our guard down and made him a billionaire. And through the devil learning how to manipulate our emotions and make us feel something, and we're beginning to put our color ahead of our religion.
Putting color ahead of religion. Now that's a powerful statement. So what do you guys think about that?
I think black people especially tend to do that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the most. We definitely do. And man, he said something right at the end that I was going to say something about, and I forgot.
Well, I'll say this, like, it's funny what we will let by based on like what makes us laugh.
Yeah.
If something makes us laugh, I mean, you see this with girls.
something
oh,
sounds
he's
good.
fun. Why
We
are you
don't
with
take
him?
it as serious
Why are you with him?
once
He's
it makes
toxic.
us
Oh, he
laugh.
makes us laugh,
Yeah.
or he makes me laugh, and it's like, oh, is that all he has? Like he doesn't have character. He doesn't have integrity. He doesn't open the door for you. He doesn't he's not a gentleman.
Right.
Oh no, but he makes me laugh. It's like, oh, so you're just gonna let everything slide just because
Yeah.
he makes you laugh? Like that's craziness.
And I remember now. Like I forgot what the concept is called. Maybe it's called predictive programming. I don't think that's what it is directly, but the concept of how like over time, as you show different things in the media, you subconsciously get used to it until it becomes reflected in real life because it's already been implanted in the media for years and years prior.
Right.
To the point where now it's like, oh, okay, well, I've seen this before, so this isn't a bad thing. And I think with the Medea situation specifically, that's something that's definitely been one of those factors as it pertains to like cross-dressing and drag queens and the things that we're seeing now with the gender stuff and sex and all that different things. Because like prior to that, years in the media with Big Mama and Medea and just, you know, different men dressing it, even what's his name, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
He did it too. And so, you know, different cultures, they did it as well. And so over time we just got used to it to the point where it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I guess it's not too bad if a guy wants to do that in real life. Okay.
Because they all made us laugh. They all made us feel good.
Yep.
And, I mean, admittedly, like, these movies are funny. I'm not denying that the movies are funny, and they do have morals in the story that are good, but the value of living out your life as the characters that they're playing, that is the sin of it. And that's what we're kind of pointing out. And so you have to be very careful with, you know, how you consume this information or how you consume this content and what you are propping up as your values. Because like you said, a lot of these things are in culture and you see them and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, like this is a serious thing. It's like, oh no, I thought that was only in the movies.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Like it's been in the movies because people accept it. It's like, no, y'all showed it to us and that makes us think that people are accepting it. But if you actually go talk to people, like there's a lot of people that are just like, no, I'm not messing with this.
Rocking with that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's the problem with a lot of these extreme ideas, even on both sides, because they'll say these ideas as if they're, you know, gospel, and it's like, no, nobody thinks this way. Everybody thinks this way. And then you go talk to people and they're like, no, I don't think that way or that way. Like, I don't know what either of these people are on. But then they make you, it's like you can't choose between two evils. Because if you choose between two evils, the lesser of two evils, you're still choosing evil.
That's
evil.
something that people say all the time
The
when it comes to
lesser of two
voting.
evils.
Like, pick the lesser of the two evils. It's like, why do you even have to pick something?
Why can't we pick truth? And that's why I was very happy with what Katt Williams says, even if you don't agree with him, or even if he was even off base on what he said in a couple different things. He is, you know, not beholden to a specific agenda on either side. He is standing for, you know, what he believes, and that is how you build a healthy society where people stand on what they believe. You take it to this community of ideas, and then you have a discussion and a dialogue, and you advance the conversation forward, and everybody's better because of it.
Yes.
Right? Not that, okay, this side has their ideas and you can't go outside of the ideas, and if you do, you're excommunicated. And over here, same thing.
That's
you go
a cult.
outside, we exile you. And that's what's happening now. You have the right, you have the left, and that's why we have such a divisive society. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's where like true power comes from, being able to discuss ideas, being able to talk it out. And I totally forgot what I was going to say. But it was good. Okay.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
I did the same.
Hopefully. It was good. It was related to voting and like what you were saying. Like true power is like being able to discuss it and being able to talk it out. And hey, I forgot. It was good too.
It's gonna come back.
Okay.
It's gonna come back.
That's okay. Well, you think about that. Let's rain it on Alan J's comment. I love the old school pastors. Hurt some feelings. Call it like it is. You know.
Amen.
I like it. You know, the truth ain't never lied, right? So sometimes you just gotta, you know, cut with a hot knife through the butter and see what happens, right? Because ultimately, the light will shine, and where you shine the light, darkness is eradicated, right? But if there's no light there, then darkness, you know, it resides there by default. Go ahead.
Okay. So you know how they always say, especially in the Black community, is when it comes to voting, it's like, well, you have a right to vote, so you should vote. but the real power is being able to talk it out and discuss it. And if you come to the conclusion that both parties are not good, rational people to vote for, then the true power is being able to not vote.
I never thought about it that way, but you're right.
Yeah, that's why I didn't vote for either
That makes
major
sense.
party last time. I just kind of went and wrote in my vote because I was like, I don't stand with either one of these guys. I don't believe in either one of them to lead the country correctly. And people will say, well, one of them's going to win. And it's like, says who? It's like the American people vote. Or did they? Or did they?
That is so true.
Or did they?
And at least at that point, like, you're not lumped into the sum or the amount, you know,
contributed to
yes,
that.
that contributed.
Wow.
Yes, exactly.
I never thought about that. I needed that. I did.
So, yeah. So, here is... Miss Mack has something to say. She says, I read some years ago that Jack Nicholson warned Heath that playing the Joker was life-changing and would take over his thoughts. Playing the role of the Joker, that's why he did not take the role.
That's
So,
powerful.
yeah, there's
That's
I think,
powerful.
and I think that's the thing in Hollywood
kinda
where
scary.
people won't
That's
take
very
roles
scary.
because they're afraid of like what that role will do to them psychologically, right? And so that's why you should probably only take roles that basically bring out the best of who you already are. So you're not necessarily acting in a sense; you're just playing who you already are, maybe in a lesser form or a more accentuated form, but it's still fundamentally you. And that's why I think people like Denzel have had a very good career and haven't had to compromise because he takes roles that align with who he is.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. Because even though he has range, like, and you can tell throughout all the movies he's done that he has the range of acting that's required for like you to be like the A-lister in Hollywood and everything. But even in his interviews, you can tell like he's the same person.
Yeah.
Even outside of those movie roles,
Right.
like the
Same
essence,
characters.
like the essence of who he is still in all those characters, and it's shown like even when he's not playing them. And so that's so true. I didn't
But
think
people
about
also
that.
got to understand that when they are playing these characters, especially with the way we prop up and pedestalize movie stars and entertainers, that you are spreading a message and you are influencing people in general. And so if you aren't taking roles that help push the values that you are espousing, then there's such an incongruence there that, it gives back to that two spirits thing. It's like you're almost like serving two masters at the same time. Even if you play the bad side in a story that helps you tell. So like, say you play like let's just keep it simple. So say you're a Christian, right? And you espouse Christian values, but you play a Roman soldier. Like, that's fine because the core of what you are trying to, of the story and the point of the story is moving towards your values. And so that's still good. But when it's antithetical to that, where, you get into cross-dressing, for instance, then what's going to play out is like you cross-dress and then you go lay hands on T.D. Jakes. And then now you see where that's getting you. Now T.D. Jakes in the news. For what? Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Oh.
And so this gets back to, not that.
Full circle.
This gets back to my last sip, right? The people we pedestalize should be the epitome of who we want to be. You should never have someone represent you that you would not emulate. The people. We got to get this through our heads. And I'm going to let you sip on that. We want to hear your thoughts because those are our thoughts. We will be right back with our next segment. After this break, we got a doozy. It is traditional weddings. Stay tuned.
Fight for the algorithm.
Hey guys, welcome to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. We are officially a part of the Quality Entertainment Network, and we are so happy to be here. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And we're here to discuss the intersection of culture, faith, media, so we can inspire some practical solutions to some huge societal challenges that we're facing today. So let's work together to get this done.
What is up? Welcome back to the Weekly Tea. It is me, Joshua P. I got in the middle Miss Kenya Mack, who will be Miss Kenya P this year.
Yes.
And Miss Miracle Monique, all the way on the end. Make sure that you like for the algorithm, because we're on a mission to spread some practical religion. Now, we got some...
Wait. You know what's funny?
What?
You know, I used to always be obsessed with like Kim Possible. No, and her nickname was KP.
KP!
Oh,
yes.
My goodness.
I
my
love
goodness.
this.
My goodness. Well, let's get to some quality comments. Mr. Allen J says, "Go ye into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. We, the church, supposed to be the standard, not the other way around." Exactly.
That's right, Alan.
Yes, we should be the standard. And that is what is going to change the hearts of people when we, live up to our full potential and we display the light that is already within us, when we are the salt of the earth, right? That's what changes people, not by force, not by shouting at them, by just being who we are, and then having those people be like, "Oh no, I need to make a change," and then wanting to make that change. That's where true repentance can come in. Because if you beat somebody over the head with a stick and tell them to change, it's like, oh yeah, maybe they want to change and maybe they will change, but then it's like, no, I feel like I was forced into this.
Yep.
Like, true power is and influence is when you can get somebody to change their mind, but they think it's their idea.
Yeah.
They did it on their own merit,
that's
right?
a Billions thing.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah, we've been out here cooking. Yeah, so let's get into our next topic. It is traditional weddings. And
I got a question.
Are modern weddings too secular? That is the question that we want to answer. So, initial thoughts. Go, guys.
I think...
Go ahead.
I think they lack what word am I looking for?
me.
I think they lack individualism, I think.
Expound.
So, for example, a lot of the weddings that we've been to, although beautiful, I think a lot of them kind of...
Oh, we're by the same script.
Yes.
Okay, I see
There's
what you're saying.
there's very few that have like their own vows, or very few that express like their love for Christ in a lot of them.
Now, we're talking mainly about the ceremony.
Yeah, I'm talking about the ceremony.
Yeah, mainly about the ceremony. Like, the reception generally has, different little twists and turns and elements.
Yeah.
But the ceremonies have been typically 1, 2, 3. Now, I
Yeah,
think...
very quick.
In my quick opinion, I think that there's not enough focus ceremonially on propping the... It's almost like, okay, y'all are getting married. Good for y'all. Show the love. Release y'all out into the wild.
Yes.
When the ceremony and the symbols in the ceremony need to be more about, okay, this couple is coming together, but it's not just the joining of this couple, it's the joining of this community. These families are coming together, and how are these families going to support this couple to make sure that they stay strong, and how are these two families going to support each other, because now that they are essentially becoming one body at the same time. And I think that gets us into the wedding that we went to this past Thursday, right? It was
beautiful.
It was my
It was a
cousin's
beautiful
wedding,
ceremony.
and it was a beautiful ceremony. Now, I will say it was one of the longer ceremonies you're going to go to. Most ceremonies we go to are
Very quick.
20,
10 minutes.
10 to 20 minutes.
ceremonies.
Yes.
10, 20 minutes cocktail hour,
Yeah.
or 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've been to a couple
Or all
weddings.
night.
Yeah, we've been to a couple weddings where it's like the ceremony ended, and then it's like we're waiting like 2 hours. And I get it. You got to take pictures, and sometimes the bride changes and all that. But it's like, come on, like, get your stuff together.
Yeah.
Like, people want to party.
Yeah.
And so we're taking all this information in from the now 9 weddings that we've been to.
Yep, 9.
9 weddings that we've been to in the last 2 years.
I'm loving all the love,
to
though.
make sure that to make sure that our wedding goes, one, that it's uniquely us, but two, that we represent not only our love, but the love of Christ that is uniting us, and the love of our two families and how they are going to support us too. And so let's talk about that, the wedding that we went to, some of the characteristics and elements of the ceremony that you did like.
Oh, I loved the pastor that they had. I loved how the worship music that they played, like it was all like instruments and like a band and things like that. And also your cousin's wife, her family is like Polish. So she had like someone from Poland read 1 Corinthians 13
Cool.
in Poland, in Polish.
Yeah.
Polish. So that was really cool to hear.
Yeah, it was funny. My brother was like, "Man, I thought that lady was speaking in tongues." I was like, "She was." It's like that's a different. It's a
yes,
it's
actually,
literally
yes.
a different tongue. So
Literally.
it's like,
True, yeah.
It's like, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just like hearing the instruments, just hearing people sing along with the songs, it just felt like a little piece of heaven, honestly. I was like,
Yeah, well, and
beautiful.
the biggest thing with how the worship part of the ceremony was the instruments and the music didn't overshadow the voices.
Yes.
And
Wow.
so, yeah, you had people on the microphones, but everybody in the building was singing. And so it was like this angelic,
Yes, it was
harmonious,
so
just, yeah, and it felt very powerful and uplifting, and as opposed to like, okay, we're just jamming out in like, you know, a normal Sunday service, like that
Right.
that felt like almost true authentic worship, because
Yes.
everybody was singing and you can hear everybody's voice, and it sounded as one.
Yeah.
And it was just really beautiful. And then
Yeah.
you had, you know, like you said, you had this violinist, you had a
Ooh.
Yes,
keyboardist,
it was so great.
and so it was just beautiful, because the music wasn't the focal point; it was the worship and the voices to God.
Yeah.
and that was cool.
And
And
something-
it was surrounding that couple in
Yeah.
that moment, which was also very cool. Good.
Yeah, and like two other things that I thought were cool was one, like towards after they said "I do," I think it was, the parents came up and like prayed with them, like prayed over them, and then
So it was specifically the patriarchs of
Yes.
each side. So her
dad.
Yeah, her dad. And then my grandfather, because my cousin's father unfortunately has passed away. And so my grandfather stepped up and did the prayer on that side. But that was cool. And that's not something that's necessarily something you see all the time.
Yeah.
That's super traditional. That's
No.
ingrained in ceremonies. But I think it's necessary, and an awesome display of not only just it's a good symbol, but it's a good way to kick off a marriage, rather than just saying "I
Wow.
do," kiss, and then
Peace
let's go
out.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, yeah, let's have fun, let's party. Like Jesus turned the water into wine, and
Of course.
yeah, and he saved the best wine for last.
So let's remember why
But,
we're doing this.
yeah, let's
Exactly.
remember
I
why we are
love
here.
it.
Yeah. So the last thing that I thought was really cool was, like in the program, it said like the reason why they're starting out with worship, which was to bring glory to God, and because He's the author of
Wow.
love, He's the one that even created love. So I thought that was really cool that they did that.
That's awesome. So I am going to say modern weddings are too secular. I had to think about it a little bit, because I had to think about the weddings I've seen and experienced myself. But I will say they're too secular, because these days the foundation of the marriage itself is no longer surrounded by God. And so when going to the wedding, it's more about the showmanship and the entertainment and the beauty of it all, and not really the depth of why they're there in the first place. And so I see things like, you know, them smoking weed at the altar, or like
What is that gonna
It's
do?
like-
yeah.
Not
Have y'all
sacred.
ever seen that?
No.
I've seen that a couple times, and
Like in person?
yeah, like they'll like have a blunt
Jesus
like at
Christ.
the altar, like next to the rings or something, like
Bruh.
as they And so I'll see things like that, or I'll see like, really, and like the wedding dresses are just so
scandalous.
Yeah. And it's like not to put any woman down for a wedding dress, but it's like at the same time, it's like what are you trying to represent here? Like, why are you doing this? Kind of like, what's your reasoning and your intent behind doing this? And so I will say a lot of them are
because
way
like
too secular.
you're getting married, like the wedding dress should be. I mean, you can
beautiful,
beautiful,
fit
and
your body,
you
absolutely.
can show off like your who God's made you to be,
right?
But ultimately, like
but a lot
your
of them
body is for the person that you were actually giving it to.
Yeah.
In the ceremony, it's not to be, lusted after by everybody else.
And that's what I was feeling when looking at a lot of these wedding dresses. Like, I'm really looking at your body.
Yeah.
Like, that's where my eyes go first.
Yeah. Now, lust is also not on the person who's wearing the stuff, but if you are intentionally like, oh, I'm about to show this off in my wedding dress.
Yeah.
Like, I'm about to show off this body. Everybody's going to be looking at this.
Yes. And that's why I said it's about the intent, because it's like, of course, you can't control how a person looks at you. At the same time, you do have a responsibility to yourself of how you are represented when you walk out the door and whatever you're wearing, whatever you're doing, things like that. And so especially with your wedding day and seeing all these wedding dresses and how scandalous they are and immodest, and I'm like, wow, like at the same time, I'm all for, showing your curves and all that. You are a woman after all, but at the same time, it's like, what are you exactly doing here? So
we're gonna have to find some wedding videos to react to. We're gonna have to make
like
a segment.
There's a few that went viral like last year. I think
But it's interesting that you like how you say all of that is, and I think it's representative of culture today. How it's like degenerating. So just as marriages and weddings are degenerating, so is the culture and society. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. Miss Max says, show the body to your man, not for everyone to see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's there for.
Exactly.
Because what you say I do, that's all his.
Exactly.
That's all his.
Your body doesn't belong to you.
Y'all are one.
Hot take for some of y'all.
Vice versa.
Vice versa. Yep.
So that is funny. That is funny. But yeah, the traditional weddings I thought are, and it really just took us going to one to be like, whoa, maybe the way these weddings have been conducted has been a little shallow. Now I will say we did go to one of my baseball buddies and his wedding in a church that his parents or her parents, one of the two, got married in, but their pastor did a phenomenal job of telling their story. And so that was wrapped in the ceremony. So I'm not saying that every wedding that we've been to has been like, the shallow cookie cutter printed out thing. I'm just saying the thread through them all is like, hey, like the ceremony's really quick. And
lack of depth, I guess.
Yeah, lack of depth and lack of like this uplifting of not only the couple, but of the family and this, and just like, because when you're there at a wedding as a witness, you're saying that, hey, I'm here to witness these two get married and also to hold them accountable going forward in the future. Like that's the ultimate purpose. Like you don't just invite people to a wedding to party with you. You invite them to be a witness to the union of the love that you two have, but also to help you in your journey as you are married, because those are the people that are supposed to be closest to you that you can lean on. And so that's also why you should also probably watch who you invite to your wedding too. Don't just invite people just because, oh, like I knew her back in the day and she's fun.
Agreed.
It's like, no, like let's think about this in a bigger way. Like you want to have a party, like, get back from your honeymoon and then have a party like, oh, we're married, we're together, we're throwing a house party. Yeah, that's fine. But like the marriage, I think, needs to be taken more seriously. And I think perhaps, then you'll see marriages start lasting longer, lasting for an eternity. Because I think the way we do weddings is indicative of the quality of how the relationship lasts. And a lot of them aren't lasting very long.
I agree.
So, or they ultimately unravel, even if they do last a significant amount of time. So, I mean, yeah, here's our last sip. And it is wedding should symbolize how the couple will remain bonded for eternity and how the closest witnesses will support. But that's just what we think. We want to know what you think. We only got a couple more segments left. When we come back, we are going to talk about unemployment staying the same, even though the U.S. added 260,000 jobs. Stay tuned.
Fight for the algorithm.
Get Gary.
About that knee drop.
We're going to work through this track meet in Birmingham, get ready for the Nationals, and hope to put in a good performance.
Just making sure she pushes out of both legs out of the blocks and not just relying on one leg. Let's go do it.
We are back. It's the Quality Tea. Thank you for tuning in to us. It's Joshua Prophet, Kenyon McIntosh, and Miracle Monique. Make sure that you like for the algorithm. We got a nice little topic here. The U.S. adds 260,000 jobs, but unemployment stays basically the same. So
I got a question.
And it's kind of hinting at like, why don't people want to work?
Because they're getting paid not to.
Because they're getting paid not to. Now, in fairness, like, okay, you had 260,000 jobs. Of course, like, it may take a second for people to actually respond for the unemployment rate to
very true
actually
since they were just added.
dip because they were just added. But I think this speaks to a broader discussion of just the people just in general not wanting to work. And it's not just like us just saying this just out of nowhere. It's like they're saying it on the internet everywhere. Yeah. Like they're like, hey, I'm not going to work. Or they're like, I'm not going to work unless I get paid X amount of dollars. And it's like, well,
does your value match up with that?
Do you qualify for X amount of dollars? Like,
exactly.
It's like, I got this marketing degree. Like, I got a marketing degree.
Right.
It's like everybody has a degree
everybody
now.
Has a degree.
Yeah, and y'all were tripping about going to y'all were tripping about college not being affordable for all of these years. But then when everybody gets it, then it of course like it lowers the value of said degree.
That's what happens.
That's why I realized halfway through college, I was like, well, a bunch of people are getting a marketing degree and it's not like a special degree. So what do I need to do? I need to work on my connections. I need to work on,
that's what I did.
Building relationships and sharpening my networking skills. And so that I do have a job and a career path forward, while people who are like, oh, I got straight A's in school. But can you conduct yourself in an interview?
Exactly.
Right? Or do you, and
you
it's
likable?
like, I can't get a job.
Right.
It's like, yeah, because
most of them are not.
Your grades don't, like your grades, of course you want to be above like the threshold of what it takes to get the job that you want. But that's not all that getting a job requires.
Yeah.
Like they have to like you. A lot of times you have to align with the company's, missions and, brand values and stuff like that. And so if you're just a textbook essentially that can, spit out the definitions of all these different marketing concepts, you're not really of value,
Yeah.
right? You might be a good professor. You can go into academia, I guess, but you're
They
not.
make a lot.
Yeah, but
I could probably do
business was about relationships, and when I learned that, I focused less on grades and didn't necessarily care if I made the president's list or the dean's list, and I started focusing more on, okay, let me build this relationship in my athletic department that helped me get this internship, that helped me get my job later because it looked good on my resume, and I was able to be in a corporate setting, and that led me to, okay, how can I conduct myself in my own business? Now I'm able to, travel around country and film people.
Yep.
And so it's just all because of certain skills and decisions that you make, right? It's not always about, okay, do you have the best grades and did you get X degree, Y degree? It's like, hey, yeah, your grades need to be good and you need to keep them up to a certain level. But if you're so stressed about grades that you're not working on the other side of what it takes to really be successful in business, if that is your field, which it's everybody's field in some sense, or in whatever career path, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, because I'm not in politics anymore, but when I was in college, I felt like I wanted to go that route. I just put myself out there and I put myself in, I was very curious. So I went to like a Republican meeting. Yeah. And I ended up meeting like a Democratic guy. And he was like, oh, we have this ball that we do every year. Do you want to volunteer? I was like, yeah, sure. And then through that, I got a job in politics for the first time. So it's definitely about putting yourself out there, making connections. And then even when I was pivoting into tech, it was putting myself out there, connecting with people that's already in my network, and also building my skills up, because I obviously had to build my skills up to go into tech. So.
Right. Yeah, because it would have been really easy for you to be like, oh, I want to pivot, but I don't have a degree and I don't have the certifications. But you went through the process of, okay, what certifications do I need? Who do I need to talk to about, getting these certifications? And then they might tell you, oh, actually, we're looking for this. And it's like, oh, okay, thank you. Let me go back and get this. And you put in the work. And because you were willing to establish those connections, and especially when you do establish those connections and then you follow through on, hey, I did what you told me to do, then it's like, oh no, this person's serious. Let me bring this somebody I would want to work with. Yep. And that speaks volumes over, somebody with a, 4.0 that looks good on paper, because just because they look good on paper doesn't mean they're going to be effective in the workplace.
Yeah, and something that I get a lot from my current boss my current manager is that they really like how I always put myself out there. I'm always looking for certain things, and I'll go and put myself in positions to get to know people or try to learn a new skill set. So that's definitely something very valuable if you are someone that actually does want to put in work and do stuff.
Shout out to you. That's my fiance right there.
Period.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's take a look at this graph really quick. It is, the change in non-farm payrolls, and you'll see right there, so right next to November, 260,000 jobs were added to, the workforce in December. But then that same article basically says that the unemployment rate dipped, I think, very, very slightly, 0.4% or something like that. But also, on the same token, pay, I think the average pay was up by 4.1% year over year, and by 0.6% in some sort of time. So people are essentially getting paid more, but not as many people are going back to work. And I think this gets to the heart of people feeling entitled to whatever's in their head and whatever they want, even though most people don't even understand or know what they want because they haven't tried said things. It's mainly driven by this need to get successful overnight or to make a lot of money, and they don't really know why they want to make a lot of money. They don't really know why they want to be successful, and it's good to want to have that ambition, but if you don't have a why behind it, one, you're not going to achieve it, and two, you're going to feel empty if you do attain some sort of acclaim, like you'll just fall from grace really, really quickly. Be like a, it's not one trick pony. What's a one hit wonder, essentially? There's people that go viral and then you never see them again.
Yeah.
Or they put out that one song and you only know them for that one song. It's like, that's why. They didn't really have a why. They just kind of put out this song and then
surprisingly blew up.
Now sometimes it does have to do with the industry, because the music industry is the most evil thing on the planet. But
agreed.
But in a lot of cases, especially with video content, like a video blows up and everybody's like, "Oh no, yeah, you're the guy that did this."
Yeah.
And you never see them again, is because they didn't. That was it. That's all they had to offer. Essentially, they didn't have a system or a why or a process in place to capitalize on, this viral moment. They were just trying to go viral for the sake of going viral.
That's how I feel about Lauryn Hill.
Oh, whoa!
Wow.
Please expound,
I do.
because I love Lauryn Hill. Go ahead.
I do too. I love that little one album she put out and never put anything out again.
That
never.
might be one of the
Well,
best.
maybe
That's one of the best albums of all time.
It is.
But maybe that her thing was like, okay, yeah, I just want to put out this one album and then just go live my life.
Well, in fairness, she was on the Fugees, and they put out a couple of good projects.
Okay.
That were great. So that's how
true.
she made her claim to
Yeah,
begin
that's
with.
true.
Yeah.
And then she put out that album, and everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, Lauren," and then she just disappeared. She'll put out a song here and there every now and then,
she
but
need to do something else.
it is disappointing.
It hurts me.
No, that
does.
does hurt, because that
does.
the album is
It was really good.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
That's why
And-
I'm salty.
Yeah. No, I would agree. So it's like, why don't people want to work, Kenya?
Yeah, what Miracle said about they get paid not to work.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being in college and I'll have friends that were on unemployment. They were getting like $900 a week. And I'm over here actually
Whoa,
working.
Time out. What?
Yes. And I'm
$900.
I did.
Yes.
900.
It got cut off, but I did.
Yeah, and then I'm over here actually working, getting paid minimum wage, and I'm
Yup.
like, well,
That's wild. That's
maybe
not
I
fair.
should also get unemployment.
Exactly. What's weird though is I got paid that $900 while working.
Wow.
When I lost my job because of
I wouldn't
COVID.
say that on camera.
Yeah.
The IRS.
Well.
The IRS.
After I stopped working, I never saw that 900 come back. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I mean, here's my final sip, I guess. It's could it be that people feel entitled to only work jobs they like, even though most people don't know what they want out
That's true, though.
life.
I agree with that.
And so
I agree with
I mean, that's just a question that I propose, and I didn't mean to do that. And that's basically what I think. You have anything else to add? Enough said. When we come back, we're gonna be talking about Jeffrey Epstein. So don't abstain. Well, yeah, don't abstain from us. Yeah.
Fight for the algorithm.
About that knee drop.
We're going to work through this track meet in Birmingham, get ready for the Nationals, and hope to put in a good performance.
Just making sure she pushes out of both legs out of the blocks and not just relying on one leg. Let's go do it.
All right, quality people, welcome back to the Quality Tea. We only got 2 different topics left, but the first one is great. You see it at the bottom of your screen. I'm with Kenya McIntosh and Miracle Monique. Make sure that you're on a mission to spread some practical religion through this cultural commentary. Now, Epstein's brother speaks on Tucker Carlson. So, this poses a question: who killed Jeffrey Epstein? Now, these are more conspiratorial. This is all speculation, so don't come for us. We're gonna have a little fun though, and there is some information that came out with Epstein's brother interviewing with Tucker Carlson, and then I saw this segment from Breaking Points, which is an independent media news outlet, and one of the commentators on there raised a very interesting angle that involves Donald Trump. So you want to stay tuned for that. So let's get into this clip really quick.
When did you start to think that he did not kill himself?
Well, after the autopsy, and both pathologists, the city pathologist and Dr. Barden, came out of the autopsy and they said this doesn't look like a suicide. It looks more like a homicide.
So what did you do then?
Well, I figured I'd have to look into this and see what's going on.
Were you shocked that he might have been killed?
It came as a surprise, yeah.
So as his only surviving relative, what did you do to find out what happened to him?
Well, I started to inquire about what took place. You know, the Justice Department was supposedly investigating. The initial death certificate said pending when it said cause of death, which means pending further investigation.
Yes.
So, but then a few days later, it was declared a suicide by the chief pathologist, who was not at the autopsy. And the questions became, what investigation was done in such a short period of time to make her determine it was a suicide, or was she basing it on Bill Barr's statement?
So yeah, some interesting perspective there from Jeffrey's brother, who's his only surviving relative, because his parents are gone. I don't think he has any kids or anything, and so that's the only person who has any ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And he's saying, "Hey, the math ain't math in here. They said it was pending, and then there wasn't really an investigation, but then they said that it was an investigation, and it's over 4 short days." And because generally when it's somebody takes their life, you generally know, like, oh no, like,
for sure,
this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
For sure. But the fact that it said pending, that does raise a little bit of questions. And then the fact that the original autopsy and pathologist, is that what he said? Said that it looked more like somebody had been strangled. That's also interesting, if that is in fact the case. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think these corporations, the government, all of them, I mean, there's a whole lot of reason not to trust every single little thing that they say, given past situations of other things going on. And so I definitely see that there could be some foul play here that had nothing to do with him deleting himself. So, yeah, very plausible.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. He is a powerful man who had a lot of resources and a lot of information, and then that was stripped from him. But now he has a lot of this information, a lot of secrets of people who have a lot to lose. And so, and he doesn't really have anything to lose now because everything has been stripped away from him. And so it's not very cut and dry on, who would have, quote unquote, pulled the trigger if it weren't him. But it is interesting how the circumstances play out. And they've already primed us with all these different movies and television shows of what really happens, So, I mean, that's the funny thing to think about as well. And so now, do you have anything to add, Kenya?
No, I agree, 100%.
Okay. So now on Breaking Points, they had an interesting angle that involves Donald Trump. Take a look at this.
Now, there's also reporting, to give Trump some credit here, maybe more than he deserves because of reasons we'll go into in a second, that After Epstein, during the Bush administration, was convicted of, I forget the exact charge, but it was some type of like sexual assault-ish. It was knocked down to a very low degree, but it was still a sex crime. He was banned from Mar-a-Lago, and according to reporting that has come out, like he did not associate with Trump kind of after that, because that's an interesting break in the Epstein saga.
Right.
After he is a sex criminal, like a public sex criminal, tons of this stuff happened after that with these famous people.
That's right.
Where everybody kind of would have known that this had happened. Now, the reason...
Now, see, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Because he's saying that, hey, a lot of the stuff on, I guess, the lists that are coming out is
happened
after
he's
alleged.
Yeah.
Now, in the case of Trump, he's like, hey, once this stuff started happening, Trump's like,
nah, bro.
Nah, man, we may still be friends, but at least I'm not going to associate with you. We're going to at least say you're banned. I'm not sure the extent of, the relationship. They had that old picture where they were buddy back in the day. But, I mean, that was very smart from Trump. But now he's about to get to, the other side where, maybe something there. Let's take a listen.
And I say we're giving Trump too much credit. It was a Bush administration. It was Acosta, a Bush administration assistant attorney, U.S. attorney, who cut the sweetheart deal with Jeffrey Epstein back then. He then became Trump's labor secretary.
Right.
And then also Epstein died in prison under Trump's watch. So let's not forget that either.
Worth noting as well.
We're going with died.
We're going with died. He died under Trump's watch. And so, this just goes back to my original point of saying that, hey, there's a lot of powerful people out there who probably, since this guy is not a part of the band anymore, essentially, is like, hey, no, we just need to get rid of this guy. He needs to be out of here. Right? And so it's very easy to understand how this wouldn't be what they said it is.
I'm doing a lot of thinking. I think it's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's exactly what it looks like.
Oh, okay.
I agree. I don't have any objections.
That's funny.
Or anything to add. I think it is what it is.
Yeah, I do. I do.
But is that ever going to come out? I don't know. We're in the age of truth.
Hey, right. Might be a whistleblower somewhere. Another deep throat.
Yeah. Well, see, the problem with...
Oh, God.
You and Alan, man.
That's what the person's... That's what the person's name was.
What
right?
did you just say? What is happening?
Y'all know what I meant. Y'all took it the wrong way.
No, you took it the wrong way. I almost missed that whole thing.
Oh my God.
Man.
Yep, another whistleblower out here. It might come out.
And you said whistleblower.
Okay.
I'm done.
We're rated G over here.
Right.
Yeah. Let's get back on Jesus. No, but yeah, here's my final last sip. When you hold the secrets of those with unlimited resources and you have been disarmed of your own, you are a major target because you have nothing to lose while they have everything to lose. And that's what we think. We would like to know what you think. We have one more topic. We're going to bring this thing full circle when we come back, talking about Katt Williams on Yeezus, not Jesus, but Yeezus. Stay locked.
Fight for the algorithm.
Hey guys, welcome to the Conscious Outlet Podcast. We are officially a part of the Quality Entertainment Network, and we are so happy to be here. I'm Miracle Monique.
And I'm Alan J.
And we're here to discuss the intersection of culture, faith, media, so we can inspire some practical solutions to some huge societal challenges that we're facing today. So let's work together to get this done.
All right, this is our last segment of the weekly tea, and you know it is us three. It's me, Joshua P, Kenya Mack, and Miracle Monique. Make sure that you. Now we're gonna talk about Mr. Katt Williams again because he's set the internet ablaze. He has set the internet ablaze like that slobbery blunt that is always in his mouth. Katt speaks on Yeezus on Ye. So,
I got a question.
And that question is, should we best listen to Kanye? I don't know why I phrased the question like that, but should we best listen to Kanye? Maybe that's a Kanye way of putting it.
Yeah. Should we be listening to Kanye?
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what I meant. It was very early when I wrote that, so. Best. No, because when you say best, when you say best, you're a genius when you say best.
Yeah, you know what? It's best. You right.
Yeah.
Because this is Kanye we talking about. So yeah.
So I'm the best. Yeah.
That's
DJ Khaled ain't got nothing on me. We the best. I'm the best. Yeezus and Jesus.
You got all that out?
I don't know.
We can hear him out. We can hear him out.
I think you can hear anybody out.
Absolutely.
And then you can take what you need to take and
Absolutely.
leave what needs to be left.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, everyone's speaking from their own beliefs, perspectives, opinions. So yeah, exactly. Take what you want to take from it and apply truth and move forward.
You know, at the end of the day is the beginning of a new one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That felt like a trick question.
My friend Deshaun used to say that to me every day.
I was like confused, but it's like
he wrote that at my mom's house on the whiteboard.
I'm
and that was on the whiteboard for
I'm gonna start saying that. I'm gonna steal that one.
Yeah, the beginning of the day is the beginning of a new one. It's like
the end of the day.
At the end of the day, is
the beginning of a new one. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but let's hear what Katt Williams had to say about Yeezus. Yay.
From a distance, obviously, I don't know how well you know Kanye. I don't know if you've been around Kanye, but from a distance, what do you suspect's going on?
I suspect that we're pretty awful people if we say that somebody got a mental illness and then we watch what they do. If you say somebody got special needs, then why would you be watching them and holding them accountable like everybody else? Wouldn't you grade them on a curve? Wouldn't you go, whew, this guy? Because, I mean, what are we reacting to?
Hold up. Yeah, so like when it comes to Kanye, Ye, as he wants to be called, what are we reacting to? Because I love Kanye's music. I've always loved Kanye's music. But I always recognize that I like Kanye for his music. I don't like Kanye for his cultural takes. I don't even like Kanye's fashion like some people do. I don't like it.
I think it's fashion.
It's not really for me.
I don't like his shoes.
Well, yeah, I'm mainly talking about the shoes. Those shoes are ugly.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, some of his...
I like some of his shoes. I like some of his outfits.
Yeah, I mean, some of his outfits are fine. Some of them are too, like, I guess eccentric for me. I like really clean minimal. Cut. Let's leave it out the door. That's me. That's just my personal take.
Right.
But again, it's people were flaming Kanye for these rants and going on stage, and then of course it comes out that he says that he has bipolar disorder and he's taking medication and all that, and yet people are still judging and critiquing all of his words as if he is a politician or somebody, or that he's of sound mind. And it's like, no, we go to Kanye to listen to his music. Now, in fairness, a lot of this stuff was happening at his concert, so people were going to listen to music and they're getting rants, which is okay. That's a little concerning, right? But once that got under control, we still were platforming him, Piers Morgan, to talk about political issues.
Yeah,
we're still doing all these different things, and it's like, no, that's not where this man shines. Put him back in the studio. Let him make some more music. Now I think he is making music, which I'm excited for. But when he goes on these different things, yeah, it's entertaining and it's fun to hear what he's going to say, but it's not like we should be grading it as if it's, a seasoned politician saying it that we're going to actually vote for.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, he said he was going to be president one day.
Yeah.
Right?
Kanye
And he
for
thinks just because
2024.
he says stuff that it's going to materialize. Like he said he was going to marry a P-star, and he married a P-star.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
did.
so, but that's the problem. And that's why we have to be careful with how we praise people for their excellence, right? Because if we give them too much, then they start to think they are, God.
Yep.
To the point where he names a whole album Jesus.
Yeah.
That he is God. And then he says, "Oh, I'm playing God," and it's like, no, you're not. No, you're
Yeah.
not. Being one with God and then being God, two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is to be one with God,
Mm-hmm.
be one with the Father, just as Christ was one with the Father. But being God, we'll never make it to that point, because once you think you've made it to that point, then you start to degenerate rapidly, because then you don't see your flaws.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you do see a flaw, you don't see it as important because you think you're powerful enough to overcome that flaw.
Yep.
But you should always be working on yourself. Even the most upright person can be more upright, can be more holy. We can always push the boundaries of humanity. What are we doing? So yeah, Katt absolutely has a point. Why are we judging a guy in a field that he's not outstanding in, that he's not excellent in, as if he is?
He's
Why
not
are
an
we
expert
platforming
in-
him? Huh?
He's not an expert in too.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not. Wait. He's not expert in what?
Like
Like
the
in
field that he
politics.
taught. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so, but they platform him because they know he's going to get views.
And that's
And so
what it
they
comes
use him.
down to. That's what it comes down to. Everything comes down to money, power, status, all of that. Because that's the whole reason why he's platformed on these issues in the first place. Because he's loud.
Polarizing too.
Yeah, he's polarizing. He's polarizing. He's loud.
And he's going to get that soundbite that gets everybody to your platform.
Absolutely, and they know that, and so they platform him. It's that simple.
And then they ridicule him right afterwards.
Yes.
Even though they're the ones that were like, "No, yeah, Kanye,
It's a
we'll give you an
safe
opportunity.
space.
It's a
Right.
safe space.
Right.
We don't care if we send you down in a spiral."
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that
That's
is
sad, actually.
That's
very
terrible.
sad.
That's terrible.
Very sad.
What are we reacting to? You're the one that put him in a position where he thought he was God and could call himself Jesus. And you're the one told a guy that writes musical lyrics that he was a genius. You're the one that's...
Yeah. Another
Yeah.
point. We call people geniuses when a genius is really based on an IQ level test. Now, but when we call you a genius in a particular field, we don't mean that you're a genius in an academic sense, or that your mind works at a rate higher than everybody else. We're just acknowledging that you are very, very excellent at this specific field if we aren't acknowledging you on an IQ scale.
Exactly.
Right? And so saying that you're a musical genius is much different than saying you're a genius, like Albert Einstein or somebody like that. And so, but when you call somebody a genius and then you fed their ego and their ego has inflated to the point at which Kanye's ego has inflated, then it becomes very harmful to that individual.
Yeah, and I think
For
that's
that
what we're seeing
individual.
play out now. I do. I think he's.
Yeah.
I think he's spiraling to the point where reality is like kind of hitting him, and he's still not recognizing it as reality, and so he continues to like battle with like two different mindsets inside of him, and I think that's where the bipolar disorder probably comes in at, unless it's not that at all. Maybe it's the two-spirit thing that we
That's what I
talked
was
about
thinking,
earlier. Yeah.
yeah.
It could be him dealing
Like
with that.
Jesus versus actually following Jesus.
Exactly. And I think we're seeing that play out a lot, and it's scary because we've been seeing it for years. And so I just wonder what the end result like will kind of be.
Yeah, and it doesn't help having, like what you guys are saying, like having a bunch of hype men around you telling you all this stuff, inflating your mind.
Yeah.
When the opposite probably needed to happen. Like even when he became or started being more serious about his faith, like the pastor who he was under was telling him to go directly and start making music for Jesus and stuff like that, rather than taking time to actually like understand the word, understand how to live out his life as a Christian. So
that's a great point. Yeah.
Very well said.
Like, so what do you expect? The guy married a whore. Like, what?
Oh, Lord.
Like, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, married her because she was one. Not he didn't know. He understood that he wanted that. He courted that. That's what he wanted to base his family
she got
on.
a good heart, though.
Shut up, Shannon. Shut up.
What did he say? What did Shannon say?
She said she got a good
Maybe
heart.
she got a good heart though.
Oh my
You
God.
got a good heart, though.
Shannon.
What that mean?
And
She's so okay.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
Miracle said earlier. That's what she's good at. That's what she's good at. That's what she wanted to
He
be
didn't
good
just
at.
say that.
It's what Alan said earlier. That's what she's good at. That's what she wants to be good at. That's what she wanted to be known for.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
she
what she
signed on
wants
the
to be
dotted
known for.
line when her mom put that contract in front of her and said, "Hey, I know you're my daughter, but I'm going to film you and then I'm going to put it on the
Pimp you
hub."
out. That's what she did.
Her
And
mom's
now
the
she's
biggest
afraid of
pimp
her
of this
kids seeing it.
decade.
Like, that's crazy. Your kids are gonna see it. Your
Her
kids
mom's
are
a
gonna
big-
know why you're Kim Kardashian. They're gonna know. But yeah, it's sad. But yeah, that's what Kanye wanted. So he got it. That's what the people kind of ingrained in him, that he can kind of do what he wants and get away with it, say what he wants and get away with it. And I think, again, reality is hitting. And it's like, oh man, the consequences of my actions are not matching what I thought was going to happen in the first place. This is not, and it's consistently happening this way. Why? It's not adding up. It's not computing. So I think he's hurting right now. I do.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Now he has been low key silent.
Yeah, he's been very low key.
He's been low key. I mean, I think
that's why he's hurting.
I think he's.
I feel like he's
you
always
think-
like the best though when he's low key.
I think he's in a state of like reflection right now,
Yeah.
which I'm happy about. That's why I'm like, I think he's hurting, but that reflection piece too, along with that, yeah, I think he's in that space right now in his head.
Yeah.
Maybe it's recovery because he is working
Yeah.
on some
Yeah.
music, you know, and so maybe he's in a point where because like music's kind of always been his healing
Therapy.
agent, therapy.
Yeah.
So maybe he's in a spot where he's in the studio and he's putting out music. It doesn't seem like he's super worried about dealing with all these people in the fashion business, which I think was
That's good.
also a culprit of driving some of the behavior that we saw as well.
Yeah.
And so hopefully he's in a good space, and hopefully when this music comes out, it's good, and we can just hear the music and hear him talk about the inspiration behind it and not all of
Everything
these
else.
political plays and things. But yeah, Cat Williams absolutely had a good point on that. So glad that Katt blessed us with this interview, or Shannon Sharp orchestrated it to give us this, and so that we can have some good content to react to. Here is my last sip. When you think you are God, you will cease to grow and start to rapidly degenerate. That's our last
God
sip.
will not be mocked.
Yeah, God will not be mocked. This is our last sip of the day. Because those who exalt themselves will be humbled.
Yeah.
But those who humble themselves will be exalted.
Amen.
Man, this has been a fun episode of the Weekly Tea. Let us know what you thought. We're at 785 subs, so we're getting up there to 1,000. We only need 15 to hit 1,000, and we thank you for listening and tuning in and sharing this with your friends and family. Thank you, Mayday. Take care, friends. Good stream. Enjoyed listening to it. Yeah, shout out to Michael, man.
Thanks, Michael.
Shout out to Michael. He just left us. We got to spend a few days with him down here, and it was just a joy to see him. I hadn't seen him in a while. We took him out of the pickleball court, and he had some fun out there. So shout out to you. We'll have to. We talked to him about coming on and getting some of his takes every now and then. He's a very funny guy, very logical, and just straight to the point. So I think he'll have some. He'll stir the pot in interesting ways.
Yes.
So yeah, but we want to thank you for tuning in once again. to this episode of the Weekly Tea. Do you have anything to say before we bounce and dip like a chip?
Humble yourself.
Aliens don't exist.
Ooh, that's
What?
true. Facts.
All right, bye.
Fight for the